Although fake news are not something new, it was Donald Trump who made the phrase fake news popular during the US elections in 2016. The term is so prevalent now that it is hard to believe that just a few years ago the term was barely used. Defined as news that conveys or incorporates false, fabricated, or deliberately misleading information, or that is characterized as or accused of doing so, the term fake news is now an official term in the Oxford dictionaries. Many fake news websites that sprang up during the election campaign were traced to the small city of Veles in North Macedonia. Stories in The Guardian and on BuzzFeed revealed that the Macedonian town of 55,000 was the registered home of at least 100 pro-Trump websites filled with fake news. Some even argued that the stories may have affected the outcome of the election. CNN made a special report about this particular case. The introductory begins with the notion that Veles used to make porcelain for whole of Yugoslavia, and now it makes fake news. One of the pioneers of this industry is the 14-year-old asked to be known as Mikhail. The stories are political and often wrong, but that doesn't concern Mikhail. I don't care, he said, because the people are reading. At 22, he was earning more than someone in Macedonia will ever earn in his entire life. He claims that he have earned up to $2,500 a day from advertising on his website, while the average monthly income in Macedonia is just around $400. Mirko Ceshalkovski, a clickbait coach, has more than a decade of experience running websites that target American readers. He spends his days schooling Macedonians and tell them they will earn at least $1,000 a month from their websites. He helps students make these websites look professional using tricks like breaking news banners or picking a story. The trick is to find a story that's already trending in the US and then to make it even more sensational. The title is the most important part. Along with the increase of fake news, however, we have witnessed the increase of the usage of the term post-truth, with the Oxford dictionaries declaring post-truth to be its international word of the year in 2016. Post-truth is defined as relating to or denoting circumstances in which objective facts are less influential in shaping public opinion than what appeals to emotions and personal belief. Facts are no longer influential. New criteria are emotions and personal belief. It looks like two political events in that same year combined with the fake news and the social media gave rise to a new era known as post-truth. The word provoked the intellectuals and gave rise to a prolific discussion and book publishing on the subject from authors like Lee McIntyre, who concluded that post-truth is not merely an attempt to fool us into believing falsehood. It is an assertion of ideological supremacy, whereby its practitioners are trying to compel someone to believe in something, whether there is good evidence for it or not. The denial of scientific facts about smoking, evolution, vaccines, and climate change are the most widespread fact denials. Add to this the individual biases that makes us feel that our conclusions are based on good reasoning even when they are not, the rise of modern social media and the emergence of fake news as a political tool, and we have the ideal conditions for post-truth. James Ball, who worked in political, data and investigative journalism in the US and UK for BuzzFeed, The Guardian and Washington Post. In his book Post-Truth, How Bullshit Conquered the World, Ball explores how Donald Trump and the Brexit campaign demonstrated the power of bullshit. It wasn't until 2016 that bullshit seemingly conquered the world. Ball emphasizes, however, that the bullshit-heavy Trump and Brexit referendum campaigns only flourished because they were allowed to flourish. Without the media's role in spreading the shit and our willingness to take it in and spread it further, both campaigns probably would have not succeeded. Anthony Grayling, a philosopher and master of the New College of the Humanities, warns us of a corruption of intellectual integrity and damage to the whole fabric of democracy. But where does he think the post-truth world has come from? The world changed after 2008, says Professor Grayling. Politics, since the financial crash, has been shaped by a toxic growth in income inequality. It is in periods of economic crisis that people become more susceptible to emotions than reason. Another key ingredient in the post-truth culture has been the rise of social media. It's been empowered by the fact that you can publish your opinion on social networks. All you need now is an iPhone. The whole post-truth phenomenon is about my opinion is worth more than the facts. It is about how I feel about things. It's terribly narcissistic, the professor says. Professor Grayling warns us of an online culture that can't distinguish between facts and fiction, and where a few claims on Twitter can have the same credibility as a library full of research. Put the words "did the" into Google, and one of the first things you see is "did the Holocaust happen?" And the links will take you to claims that it didn't, he says. This process is corrosive to our public conversation. This kind of thinking can lead to the corruption of intellectual integrity, resulting in damage to the whole fabric of democracy. As a philosopher, he identifies postmodernism and relativism as the intellectual background of post-truth. Everything is relative. Stories are being made up all the time. There is no such thing as truth. You can see how this has filtered its way indirectly into post-truth. Hannah Arendt can be perceived to be a forerunner of critical analysis of the problems of post-truth. She does not apply the term post-truth, yet she talks about the modern political lie, which is equated with what we know today as post-truth. She describes a phenomenon which consists in replacing facts with fiction, transforming truth into opinion and opinion into truth. Hannah points out that we have never really been able to expect truth from politicians, that truthfulness and honesty have never been counted among the virtues of a politician, and that lies have always been regarded as necessary and justifiable tools of politicians. Already in 1951, Arendt claimed that in the modern age, we deal with organized lying which spreads in the entire political sphere on a massive scale. She believes this phenomenon to be reprehensible and dangerous. Arendt points in writing her essays on lying in politics and truth and politics, which are cited so widely today, that we have never really been able to expect truth from politicians. However, according to Arendt, lying can appear in two forms: traditional and modern. The traditional political lie consists in hiding. This lie was not supposed to deceive everyone, so it did not negate the difference between truth and falsehood. Such a lie was believed to be useful and bring benefits. The modern political lie is deliberate falsehood. It is manipulation of facts, forged fiction, which demonstrates itself in rewriting history, in creating an image of a politician. It is related to non-distinguishability of falsehood from truth. Its essence consists in negating facts or reality. It manifests itself in stereotypes, propaganda, and indoctrination. Arendt warns us that we must be careful for post-truth not to lead to totalitarian society. According to her, the ideal subject of totalitarian rule is not the convinced Nazi or the dedicated communist, but people for whom the distinction between facts and fiction, true and false, no longer exists.